A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe. Masquera say. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha, and we are here so that we talk about important matters. Is President Emerson Mnangagwa going to survive? Is Advocate Nelson Chamisa going to win? Those are very important questions, and we need to explore. So I have come so that we talk about important matters only right now. We have seen this just this past week, we have seen a lot of things happening. Number one, Cyril Ramaphosa, Mnangagwa's perceived ally, was exposed, was embarrassed, and he was left with no option than to admit that Sadiq was going to sit down. Thabo Mbeki came and he confirmed the same and said, after this report, what needs to happen now is for Sadiq to convene and sit, which means Mnangagwa cannot legitimize whatever which happened, which means Sadiq cannot legitimize what happened in the nation of Zimbabwe. So the rhetoric that it will never work, it's a false rhetoric from the ZANU-PF quarters and the shaky, which means Sadiq is going to actually act regarding this issue. But let us take a look on the issue of Cyril Ramaphosa's foreign policy. That is when you are going to see the problems starting for the government of President Mnangagwa. Because remember, Cyril Ramaphosa needs to win this election. Mnangagwa is said to have won. Cyril Ramaphosa needs to win this election in 2024. And the only thing which is stopping Cyril Ramaphosa to win are the foreigners in South Africa. So the people from Zimbabwe particularly, who are the majority in South Africa, they want to be deported for South African ANC to retain power. So two things are going to happen. You are going to see a radical ANC chasing out foreigners, and you are going to see a weak Ramaphosa trying by all means to contain that situation and defend the same foreigners. Reason being, if those foreigners are chased out of South Africa, they will come back to Zimbabwe. And when they come back to Zimbabwe, they are going to be jobless. They are going to have nothing to put onto the table. So what are they going to do? These people are perceived to be militant. That is the reason why ZANU-PF does not want the people in South Africa in Zimbabwe right now. So they will come back to Zimbabwe and they will be jobless. They will be doing nothing. They will be idle. What will be their own plan will be to occupy the streets, will be to confront the government which is in Zimbabwe right now. Because they've seen South Africans doing it. They've seen South Africans being involved in it, and they are well experienced in terms of protests. So ZANU-PF does not want those people who are in South Africa right now. So it is going to be Ramaphosa and Mnangagwa versus the ANC, because the ANC is actually saying we cannot sink because of one man. We cannot sink because of ED and ZANU-PF, who are refusing to reform themselves. So it's a very, very difficult moment right now for the ZANU-PF people. So what is the task? The task is, can you resolve the economic mess which is in Zimbabwe so that when your people comes back to Zimbabwe, they will be received and there will be something for them? But is that viable? Is that possible? I doubt, because the people in Zimbabwe currently, they are not employed. Vendors are being chased each and every day. There are no policies. There's no direction within this government of President Emerson Mnangagwa. So what it means is there is chaos for South Africa, the South African President Ramaphosa, as well as the ZANU-PF party here in Zimbabwe. Another issue is ZANU-PF is saying, if we allow Emerson Mnangagwa to sing with us, that will be the total end of ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF will never recover and will be forgotten forever and ever and ever more. So the issue is about having one person go, sacrificing one person. This person has shown his own party that he prefers his family, he prefers his family, his friends first at the expense of the party itself. So if you take a look on the appointments which were made, they are pro one person, they are pro his friends. Secondly, take a look on the people who are benefiting, the people who are getting benefits right now. The chief wenges, the DJs who got brand new vehicles at the expense of the masses. They have never gotten anything. Look at people like Tambaoga, they've never gotten all those things. But a few individuals have gotten these things. And this cement the issue of cronies benefiting each other according to their cycles. So you see, if you go to the Masvingo province, there is a war between Chief Charumbira and the provincial minister Chadzamira. They're actually clashing and they're actually fighting. It's said that Charumbira is directly attacking Chadzamira. And that alone is a sign of a divided Masvingo. So you see that there's no way this person is going to survive, because Mashonaland Central is disintegrated already, but people were afraid during this period. We have just rising up simply because of the appointment of the new minister who was appointed in Manicaland. So the divisions in Manicaland, divisions in Masvingo, if you move over or cross over to Mashonaland Central, the divisions there, and you add the weak Matabele land for ZANU-PF, the whole Matabele land region, then the Harare province, which is already weak, that is a disaster for Mnangagwa. So what is going to happen is there is no option for the people in leadership. They will try to bring Nelson Chamisa for a government of national unity. The question is Advocate Nelson Chamisa going to accept? No. When he addressed the rally in Bintura, he clearly indicated that they were not going to get into any GNU because they learned a lot from the past GNU. Number two, in the past GNU, ZANU-PF was not sincere enough. The MDC was calling for reforms, and the ZANU-PF used one of its proxies, made a court application, and went to the elections without reforms. That affected the opposition, and the performance of the opposition was so low because of massive irregularities and rigging. So this time around, Nelson Chamisa will not agree. Nelson Chamisa is opting for a transitional government, where he is saying, let us have a transitional government take over. Neutral people take over for a particular period. Let us organize the elections where everyone is represented, which means the commissioners will not be people appointed by ZANU-PF. There will be people appointed by everyone, which means the decisions which are going to be made by the commission will be unilateral decisions which are going to be made by a united front. So you will see that it is going to be very difficult for ZANU-PF to dictate and control what should happen. So you will see that going forward, there is another trouble. President Emerson Mnangagwa was in the United States, where he addressed the United Nations. President Mnangagwa said, in his own words, the Zimbabwean economy is growing and is booming. What does that mean? What it means is he tried to create an impression that things are well in Zimbabwe, so that the international community turns a blind eye on Zimbabwe. But is it the reality? No. There are several people in America, in UK, in Europe, in South Africa, who are actually running away from economic woes in Zimbabwe. There are people applying for visas as we speak right now, a clear indication that there is no growth in Zimbabwe. So he shot himself in the foot by simply lying to the world that Zimbabwe is the fast growing economy in the SADC region. That was false. So no matter the strategy they wanted to use to hoodwink the world leaders, they failed because the world leaders know the truth. Another issue is that they've attacked everybody. They've attacked the EU, they've attacked America, they've attacked the UK. They are attacking almost everyone. So what it means is nobody is going to listen to them. Nobody is going to stand with them. There are also rumors that the Chinese government is not happy with how this ruling party is conducting itself because of kumbandanyira kutora tora. So if you put everything, all those issues, if you put them together, you understand that the end of this government has come. So the question is, will he survive? I don't believe that he's going to survive. I don't see him surviving this because the party, as I mentioned earlier, is going to sacrifice him. The party is going to go against him. And the question is, what will be his response if the party says, we are recalling you, Mr. President? Say. So you will see he is going to try to defend himself. And in doing so, he's going to invoke something very important. That is, you are going to see something you have never seen is going to happen. Remember, he still have Malava. He still have some comrades. So if the people says, we are removing you, you are going to see some things you have never seen. You are going to see court applications you have never seen being filed within the Concord. And when you see that happening, that will be the foundation of the transition in the nation of Zimbabwe. So it is going to be something which is going to be interesting. So this is how I view this. This is how I see this. So honestly speaking, you are going to see that this is going to be a very interesting year, a very interesting moment right now going forward. Then there is an issue of uncertainty within the security forces. Do we have coherence in the security forces? The State House issue, a lot of people would dismiss it, but it is a direct proof that something is not right within the security service. If you take a look on the trend of how they voted and how they voted, even in 2018, the security forces voted against President Mnangagwa to a certain extent that he acknowledged and even threatened them. So that is a clear indication that these people cannot be trusted, which means he cannot bank on them. He cannot even rely on them. So who is going to save him? That is going to be a very, very interesting moment. Will the big wigs save him? I doubt, because some of them have been rendered powerless and some of them are being pressured by some key people to say, this is wrong. The survival of ZANU-PF is key right now. It's better to lose power now and try to fight for it in 2028 than to lose it forever and forevermore. So that is what is going to happen in Zimbabwe. This is how I look this thing. This is how I see everything here. So in my view, it is going to be a very interesting moment from now onwards going forward, because SADC has made it clear that they have to come. Because if you see people like Thabo Mbeki confirming, Ramaphosa confirming that SADC has to sit evidence, has to be put on the table. That confirms the reason why Tim Pachedu or whatever failed to deliver Mandla and its results to the people of Zimbabwe publicly. It's not because they don't have the results. They have the evidence, but that evidence is waiting to be used during that particular moment. And it will be difficult for Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to start rectifying things. Because can you prove otherwise? And it is going to be a very difficult moment for them, because remember, CCC does have all V11s. The majority of them, they have those V11s with them. And right now, President Nelson Chamisa is doing a nationwide consultation talk, which is he needs to tell the people his plans, hear what the people have to say. Because yesterday, the people started by giving their own experiences and their own thoughts and ideas. Then he gave his own position and there was consensus. So what it means is tomorrow, going forward, it is going to be a very interesting moment for the people of Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF is facing a difficult, hard time right now. TCWs can say ZANU is incapable of changing anything. The better for the better in Zim, 95% unemployment is ridiculous, and they have no plans to reduce it significantly. Yes, if you add incompetent people on top of that, you actually agree that ZANU-PF will do nothing to improve this economy. So, and they are busy lying at the UN meeting saying that all is well in Zim. The ministers are saying the economy is growing and booming, where I do not know. So that is the reason why I said it was a strategy which was devised to try and make the international community lose interest on Zimbabwe and say, so these are just crybabies, but nobody bought that because evidence is there to see, because the records are there. They have guts to stand in front of the whole world and say Zim is the fastest economic growth in Africa. Really? Yes, that is what happens when people when a dictatorship is about to fall. Inomera zenze, so zvokuti they go and say toda kunosvotesa, so kakusvotesa ikakako ndokavari kudonhera zvikanzi one thing greed and arrogance does is isolate you from the majority. This time is fast approaching. Yes, and I agree. So we have seen a lot happening. Comrades are not happy. There are several people, if you go to the countryside, several comrades are actually appealing kuti varume zvimwe zvese zvakaitika zviya zviya kana zvinhu zvikazodai musati kanganwa, which means there is information which is in their cycles which is not yet out to the public, and they know for sure what is ahead. So this is my observation, Team Zimbabwe. I was answering the question, what's next for Zimbabwe? Mnangagwa versus Chamisa, and the question is, will Mnangagwa survive? I do not see President Mnangagwa surviving this. So the first thing he faces is impeachment from his own comrades. And this time around, they're going to tell him point blank, we cannot think together with you. And the question is President Mnangagwa going to allow that? Because if they impeach him, he risks being arrested. So the only way is to find somebody he can negotiate with to say, okay, I'm giving you A, B, C, D, so that you give me A, B, C, D. How can we work on that? And it is going to be a very interesting moment. Team Zimbabwe, even Zimbabwe soldiers want change. Everyone wants change in the nation of Zimbabwe. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the support, your subscriptions, your comments, everything else. Thank you very much for that support. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha. Let us meet in other episodes as well as other broadcasts.